All right, so today we're going to break down a really powerful business strategy, one that can literally make or break a company. I'm talking about diversification. And it's so much more than just having a plan B. It's really about building an empire, something that can withstand pretty much anything. So let's get into it and see how the smartest companies out there use this to build something that truly lasts. So let's just start with a really big question. It's something that every single business leader has to deal with. I don't care if you're a startup founder in a garage or the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. The question is this: in a world that's changing so fast, can you really afford to bet everything you have on just one thing? Because here's the hard truth, right? If you're just relying on one product or one market or even one service, you're leaving your company incredibly vulnerable. I mean, think about it. One little shift in technology, a change in what customers want, a sudden economic downturn. Poof, it could be absolutely catastrophic. So standing still, that isn't safe. It's actually a massive gamble. And this leads us right to the heart of it all, what I like to call the one basket problem. It's that core dilemma, the one that pushes the really smart companies to look past what's working today and start thinking, okay, what do we need to be doing tomorrow? The main driver here is survival. It's as simple as that. The goal is to build a business that doesn't just make money when things are good. No, it has to be resilient enough to get through the bad times too. It's all about creating this super stable foundation that can handle whatever the world throws at it, whether that's a big industry shock or a nasty economic storm. Okay, so how do companies actually pull this off? How do they make that strategic escape from the one basket problem? Well, the answer really boils down to one single really powerful concept. And there it is, diversification. This is a deliberate, calculated strategy. We're not talking about just randomly trying a bunch of new things and seeing what sticks. Nope. The goal is actually twofold. First, you lower your risk. The whole don't put all your eggs in one basket thing. And at the exact same time, you're opening up completely new ways to grow. But, and this is a big but, it's not quite as simple as just expanding. You can't just lump all types of diversification into one bucket. There are actually two very different paths a company can take, and believe me, choosing the right one is absolutely critical. Okay, let's break this down. On one hand, you've got what's called related diversification. This is when a company moves into something that's, well, related to what it already does. It's a way to use the strengths and expertise they already have. So, imagine a car company deciding to make electric bikes. Makes sense, right? Then, on the other side, you have unrelated diversification. And this is a bold leap. It's jumping into a completely new area where the company has basically zero experience. Now, we have to be really clear about this. This whole strategy is incredibly high stakes. Diversification is not some magic bullet that guarantees success. Not at all. It's a calculated risk, a real balancing act between amazing potential and, honestly, some pretty significant danger. So let's talk about the promise first, the upside, because when this works, man, it really works. You can stabilize your revenue streams, right? So one bad quarter in one part of the business doesn't sink the whole ship. You're not totally dependent on just one market anymore. You unlock brand new ways to grow. And you build a business that can actually power right through an economic downturn. But the dangers are just as real. A company can end up spreading its resources, we're talking money, talent, focus, so thin that nothing really gets the attention it needs to succeed. Or you jump into a new field and have that oh no moment where you realize you just don't have the expertise to compete. And that can lead to massive inefficiency and, in the end, a very, very costly failure. So what's the takeaway here? The crucial point is this. A successful move isn't a leap of faith. It's built on a mountain of homework. You absolutely need a clear strategy, tons of market research to know if the opportunity is even real, and some deep, deep financial analysis to make sure you can actually pull it off. It's all about strategy, not just impulse. Okay, so enough with the theory. Let's look at how this plays out in the real world. And honestly, there is probably no better example of a company that has mastered this art over decades than the global giant Samsung. I mean, Samsung's journey is just fascinating. They didn't start out making smartphones, not even close. They started way back in the 1930s as a humble trading company. From there, they jumped into totally unrelated stuff like construction and financial services. But the game-changing move, the one that defined who they are today, was that massive strategic leap into electronics. And this quote just captures the impact of that decision perfectly. I mean, it wasn't just adding another division. That move into technology, and especially into smartphones, was the catalyst. It's what transformed Samsung from just a successful company into one of the biggest, most profitable conglomerates on the planet. Really, their story is the ultimate proof. It shows that when you do this right, when your diversification is strategic and bold and executed flawlessly, it can be the single most powerful engine for success. We're not just talking about next quarter's profits. We're talking about securing real long-term success that lasts for generations. All right, so we've gone through the theory, we've seen a real-world masterclass in action. So what's the big takeaway here? What's the blueprint we can pull from all this for tomorrow?
Okay, if you remember anything, remember these three things. First, diversification is both defense and offense. It's a shield that protects you from risk, but it's also a sword that lets you go after new opportunities. Second, strategy is absolutely everything. Success in this game is not an accident, it's designed. And finally, the ultimate goal is to build a business that's resilient and adaptable, one that can bend but never break.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big idea to think about. See, real diversification isn't just about adding more stuff, more products, more divisions on an org chart. No, it's a strategy of transformation. It's about fundamentally evolving what your company is and what it has the potential to become. And that leaves every single business out there with one simple but incredibly powerful question: what's next?